Hey, what's going on, Black people? How you doing? I am here in Miami for the Solutionary Summit. The Solutionary Summit is being hosted by Maj Toure, and also I got a chance to meet a lot of great people here. Rizza Islam, Derek Grace. Got to see my brother King Randall. Uh, I saw some others that were on the docket, but I didn't get a chance to meet them directly. I was there for a couple hours each day, and it's been interesting. I really respect what Maj is doing. I am a solutionary, and so it's a big thing for me. I love it. So anyway, how's everybody doing today? Let me know what city you're coming from. Yoshika's out of Texas. What's up, Big Vic? How you doing today, brother? Good to see you, man. Yeah, let me know what city you're coming from. Put your hashtag B1 in the chat. You know that we are Black First on this platform. We are looking for solutions for Black people. We will solve the world's problems later. But right now, I ain't thinking about the world. I'm thinking about our world, our Black world. That's what matters to me. And so, Nathaniel Gales, hello, how are you? My name is Corey. Good to see you. John C. Taylor, what's happening? Let's see here. I'm going to start scrolling down. And by the way, this is what I call Dr. Boyce Exposed. Sometimes I guess when people see you in a certain light, everybody wants to look for a gotcha moment, aha moments. They like to expose, right? Because, we got the Negro-itis out here. We got the Negroes in a haystack trying to fight for buttered biscuits by attacking each other. So I figured I'd expose myself. How about that? But in a decent way. I'm not going to, traumatize your kids or nothing. But I figured doing the Dr. Boyce Exposed allows you to ask me the hard questions, and I will answer any question that you have on any topic from anybody as long as it's respectful. Now, you come in sound like a hater or a troll, please reveal yourself because haters and trolls get banished. They get banned for life. So don't mess around or I'm gonna lock you up and put you out of here. So Dion Garrett, I started using an interesting real estate investing app. I'd like you to try and talk about it if possible. Sure, put the app in the chat, Dion. I'll take a look. Hey, Duran, how you doing? Let's see, Jaquez, how was it great? How was it meeting King Randall? He's the greatest. I love King Randall. Let me say this. I love King Randall. I'm 50. He's about 22, I think, something like that. The job of a 50-year-old is to do what they can to support, those 20 somethings, 30 somethings, etc., that show leadership potential. The two guys I'm most impressed with right now are King Randall and Rizza Islam. They carry themselves with maturity. They carry themselves with grace. They carry themselves as the kinds of men that you want to lead your community. They both have confidence, yet humility. And I've seen these guys up close, picked up on their energy, and I really like it. So if you want my endorsement, those are my endorsements as far as Black leaders for the future. Other men and women that come to mind, Nuri Muhammad, Akila Nihonda is a brilliant, brilliant young artist. I hope she takes over the whole game of hip hop. Just a lot of smart Black people out here that aren't on the BS. And one way you could tell, when somebody has grace and humility is when you see people just attacking, like that's a habit, I guess, out of competition or crabs in a barrel syndrome. We'll have people that will attack other people that are right in their space just so they can get a come up. And the thing about King Randall and RZA is they don't counterattack, and I admire that. Anyway, let me keep going. Let's see here. Al says, "Peace, bro. Can you explain HJR 192?" Nah, brother, I'm so sorry. I don't know anything about that. I will Google it and look it up, but I don't know anything about it right now. Jessica from Madison, Wisconsin. Very nice. Trucking T, Lakeland, Florida. Love Florida. I'm in Miami right now for the Solutionary Summit. Alexander Cummings, Chicago. I live near Chicago. John C. Taylor, Zion, Illinois. All right, shout out to you. Two-thirds from Roanoke. Jessica Talbot, B1 to you too. Let me scroll back up. So if I miss your question, just feel free to repeat it. Sorry if I miss any of them. O.A. Dixon, I have a question. Why do you keep lying on Black men saying we are offended because you got married? Now, Black men are not offended that I got married. It's Black boys that hate Black women that are offended that I love my wife. So let's just make it clear. We separate the men from the boys, OEA. So if you're a little boy, stay out of here because we got a lot of 45-year-old teenagers and you ain't got to get married. I never told anybody to get married. I mean, shit, I waited to get married. But when you hating on Black love, then you're hating on the survival of Black people. I mean, why don't you go and put on a white hood and join the Klan with your raggedy ass? Because when you hate Black women, you hate your own mother. Separate. Have some discernment. Some Black women are not queens. We know that. Some Black women are not worthy of your time. We know that. You ain't got to go and impregnate every raggedy hole that you run into. But there are a lot of black women out here, millions of them, who are on top of their shit. There are millions of black women who are solid human beings. There are millions of black women who have infinite amounts of patience for some of these weak ass men out here, And so I just say, show some goddamn respect, man. Show your manhood. Like when you run around here acting like a little bitch, you're not a man. You're a little boy. So seriously, we need to just basically call it out. Like this little boy culture needs to go. If you don't want a woman, just walk away. Find a better woman. But stop hating on the idea of black family. You are just like the same white people who want to destroy the black community. The way they destroyed your community, you want to know how they did it? They killed your families. They killed the ability of the black man and the black woman to come together and to unify. They killed the ability of gods and goddesses to get together and properly raise and nurture young kings and young queens. They took that away. Now you got baby daddies everywhere. Can't pay your goddamn child support. Running around hiding from the police and shit. Got to get babies' mamas out here talking about I can do it all by myself. I could be the mama and the daddy. I could be the daddy. My baby don't need no daddy. Now come on now. You know your son does need a daddy. Your daughter does too. It doesn't mean that you don't do the best you can with what you got. But stop acting like having no father is the same as having a father, or that's like saying having no mother is the same as having a mother. No, they're not the same. Having no mother is not the same as having a mother. So if you can say that about the mother, you should say that about the father. So that's what I say. So this whole so-called fake manosphere, that's not a manosphere. It sounds kind of gay to me when you really hating black women like that. Like, no, that's nonsense. Get out of here with that bullshit. All right, so Boomer, how you doing, Boomer, from Prosperity, South Carolina? D. Rand Sterling, DMV, PG, Maryland. Keith Parks, H-Town. Let's see, Boomer, Caldwell, Karen, James, Sasha Grace, B1 to you too. Alexandra Cummings, B1 to you. DDS, thank you for moderating the chat. I love you, brother. I am Miralosum, B1 from Houston. Are you familiar with Dr. Ali and the Aboriginal Republic of North America? No, I am not. I will look that up, though. That sounds very interesting. David T. Dick, Vermont. Forever Tamia, Philadelphia. Garrick from Brooklyn. What's going on? Jim McMiller, Grand Rapids, Michigan. What's up? How you doing? Shirley Jowers, Mobile, Alabama. Tasha Muhammad, Peace from Cali. My name is Corey, Baltimore. Oh, I'm going to Baltimore this month. A brother by the name of, oh my goodness, Jabari Natur is doing an event in Baltimore, and I'm not doing many events anymore. The only event that I'm doing anytime in the near future is the All Black National Convention and the event in Baltimore. I don't really travel to speak as much anymore because I want to spend time with my family. I don't do a lot of interviews anymore. But I am going to be in Baltimore this month. So follow my Instagram at the real Boyce Watkins. I'll post information about Baltimore. So if you want to come out, I'd love to meet you in person, man. Michelle Brown, New York. Oliver Freeman, B1. Rodney Turpin, Ronnie, Ohio. Nice to see you, brother. Renee Evans from San Diego. Vic. What's up, Vic? Dia Omari Bailey from Buffalo, New York. Oh, my God. You're going to be getting the snow in about 5, 4, 3, 2. It's probably snowing right now. Micah Harris, why are black women fighting so hard to kill their children? I shared a post that was about you. Yeah, Micah, I had to confess that I am pro-choice, right? I don't really feel compelled to legislate on abortion. However, in addition to being pro-choice, I'm also pro-child, I'm pro-black, I'm pro-fatherhood, and I'm pro-woman. And so, you know, the abortion topic is very personal for me because my mother was told to abort me because she didn't have any money. I think that's a bullshit reason to abort a child because you ain't got enough money. And, my mother gave birth to me, and I was explaining to people that, my mother, she took care of me, and all her problems that she had that would have led her to abort me, they were temporary problems. Why would you have a permanent solution to a temporary problem? Why would you do something as permanent as death or suicide over a problem that's going to be solved in a year or two? So within 2 years, my mother's financial problems were gone, and we've had 48 years together, 50 years, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting how old I am, 50 years where, I just paid off my mama's house. So when you invest in your children, understand most of your investments are not financial. Most of your investments are in people. When you invest in children as a mother, if you raise them right, those babies will take care of you when you get old. My parents don't need nothing. They don't need no social security. They don't need no goddamn pension. They got children that will go to bat for them. Mama, you want to go on vacation? Where you want to go? Oh, Daddy, you want to get a private yacht? I got you. You want a new van? Here, I just bought you a brand new van with cash. right? Like seriously, like that's what happens when you invest in your children, right? So don't think investing is just about money. Investing is more about people. People are a more valuable asset in your life than money. Never ever forget that. So the other thing too is, when you get guys talking about, who would want to be a stepdaddy? Don't nobody want to take care of no goddamn kids. Well, it's fine if you don't want to do it. That's cool, but just step to the side and go do you. But don't undermine the idea of taking care of these children who don't have fathers in their lives. These children could be a blessing to you. I have given my life to so many stepchildren and godchildren that sometimes I lose count to how many kids I've mentored, been a godfather for, been a stepfather for. I love that shit. I love it. It is wonderful. You know why? Because they have my back. They will come for, if I'm laying out sick on a hospital bed, those kids will be around my bed as I breathe my last breath. That is a blessing, man. My son does my security and a lot of my events. Anybody mess with me, my son will kill you. Like he knows how to kill people. And my son, his team carries weapons that are deadly. He will protect me to the death. He will give his life for me because I took care of him when he was a baby. He's not my biological son, but I invested in him. My brother, I invested in my brother. Changed his diapers when he was a little baby. Now my brother is my number one business partner. He works when I'm tired. I make money in my sleep partly because my brother handles business meetings that I don't feel like handling. So when you go through your life, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not doing it. But what I am trying to say to you is that when you invest in people, those people will come back for you. When you plant a seed, you will have a harvest. When you see those old motherfuckers sitting there in the old folks home and ain't nobody visiting them, their birthday done came by and ain't nobody at the birthday party but the nurse. Ain't nobody around and everybody feels sorry for them because ain't nobody coming to see them. A lot of times it's because they didn't invest in anybody when they were young. They were running around, he's a Rolling Stone, like got 14 kids, and ain't none of them kids coming to see him in the old folks home. He wasn't about shit but himself. So go ahead and be a young fool. You can be a young fool if you want to, because you'll be looking like an old idiot 20, 30, 40 years from now. So it's up to you. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just telling you what I've seen. So let me keep going. Hey, Nathaniel, Deron, Melvin, Danette from North Carolina, Sasha Grace, Chapel Hill, Marilyn Lewis, B1 to you too, James Richardson. Good to hear from you too, brother. And Mr. Hammer 2088 from Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn. Love Brooklyn. Brooklyn's got the smartest black people ever. Brooklyn's right there at the top of my list. My favorite cities that I've been to are London, Brooklyn, and Oakland. But I love other cities. A lot of honorable mentions are Houston, Philadelphia, Dallas, Chicago, of course. I live in Chicago, and the list goes on. LA, oh man, I go to LA. It's great. When I see brothers stop me on the street and stuff, it's an honor, and I just want to give a shout out to all of you. Let's see, Mickey D, get on the uranium train. Okay, uranium. Well, you know what? I did invest in a uranium company. I forgot the name of it. I think it's like UREOY. I think that, but maybe that's not the uranium company. But I made an investment. It hasn't paid off yet, but it was an investment I made based on an analyst tip. Micah Harris, mother was also 17 when she had me. More of us should be pro-life. Yeah, Micah, I tend to think that we don't take abortion seriously enough, right? I understand when people say incest and rape and the kid's 15. I can hear that, right? And I will say that at the very least, I don't like when I hear like a fully capable adult, that wants to just party and fuck everything that moves, pretty much say, "Oh, well, I'm just going to abort my baby without the father's consent." That's a violation of the father's rights, in my opinion. I believe the fathers have rights, how et cetera. So only advice I would say on that is, don't sleep with a person that you can't raise a child with. Sex is not just for you to have a goddamn orgasm. Sure, the orgasms are great. Enjoy that. But that's not what sex is for. When you let some old raggedy ass, weak ass, disease infested piece of shit into your bedroom, and then they become the parent of your child, like you have to deal with that for the rest of your life. Like, go get a vibrator, go jack off. I mean, whatever you got to do. I don't want to be too graphic, but y'all know what it is. Do what you got to do. Don't let yourself, like, guys, don't be driven by your penis. Don't make your decisions with your dick. Women, don't make your decisions based on that these needs for love and attention that you have, where you'll take attention from any man that happens to walk by. Like, find some, go get therapy or something, because what happens is the children pay for our bad choices. So because somebody didn't think it through, either I got to get aborted. I'm a baby. I got my whole life in front of me. So either somebody's going to end my life, or they're going to kick my other parent out of my life before I'm even born, and I'm going through life trying to figure it out because I don't have a daddy. Like, that's just not fun, right? So I personally think that prevention is the key to anything. When I talk to my 11-year-old daughter, one of the key things I ask her to repeat to me is I say, "What are the keys to success?" She says, preparation, persistence, and what was it? Preparation, persistence, and practice. Practice, preparation, and persistence. And preparation is critical because a lot of problems that people create in their lives, they exist because they did not prepare. The problems exist because they did not plan. The problems exist because they did not think ahead. The problems exist because they were reactive instead of proactive. And so a lot of people go through life because they put you in this victim box as a black person. They go through life and they do one dumb thing after another. And then next thing you know, they're like, oh, you should feel sorry for me. Look at me. I got these kids I can't take care of. Well, who made those kids? Well, I did, but da da da. Okay, all right. So, and I'm broke. I ain't got no money. Okay, well, did you make any investments? Did you go to school when you had the chance? No, I was on TikTok. I was learning how to twerk and play football and rap. And but did that pay off? Did that work out for you? No, but it was fun though. It was lit though. I was doing the milk crate challenge and it cracked my face open. They go seriously. It's just kind of like, I mean, you can't make people become unstupid, right? I guess every human being has the right to be stupid, and that's fine. So I'm really talking to the people who know the difference between a smart decision and a bad decision, right? And when you talk about who we lay down with relationships, that's the place where we make the most dumb decisions. And Lord knows I have, and I can tell you, if you ever want to know one of the secrets to success, it is the ability to gain sexual discipline. If you have the ability to be thoughtful about who you let into your life, that will play a huge role in your ability to be successful in everything that you do. One of the things I could say, the reason I don't have a big problem with guys that are not all excited about me getting married is because I get it. I can get married till I was 50 deliberately. But I can tell you what, when I was dating and I was single and I met lots of women, and believe me, you travel around the world, you're famous. Women are coming up all the time. Beautiful, gorgeous, intelligent black women were always around somewhere. But you didn't see me just laying up with any old chick that walked by. I would vet these women. I would make sure, like, okay, what kind of person are you? What kind of mother would you be to my child? If you were pregnant with my baby, would you abort the child without my permission? Because I consider that to be a violation. How do you even view the role of the father? Do you see the father as being important in the role of the child, or do you not see the father as being important? If you didn't value fatherhood, or if you seem like a person who was emotionally unstable in a dangerous way, I didn't come near you with a 10-foot pole. I don't care how big your booty is. I don't care how sexy you are. I don't care how many circus tricks you can do in the bedroom. I'm not trying to do all that. I'm not trying to destroy the empire I'm building just because you got a big butt and a smile. And I don't see a lot of black men having those conversations. And I'm telling you, all this macho shit where they telling you you're supposed to go lay down with any pretty girl that walks by, that is motherfucking stupid. Do you know how many guys I know who have put themselves in horrible situations because they laid down with the wrong women? I knew a guy who was he was like on the speaker circuit. He was making a lot of money as a speaker, and he's a professor. He had a PhD and whatnot. So he's supposed to be smart, but he had mommy issues. I think his mother abandoned him when he was a kid. So he didn't understand subconsciously. He was taking out his mommy issues by basically being pretty crude when it came to women, right? Because he didn't like women. He thought, because his mother wasn't shit. So he felt like women just wasn't shit, right? So he ends up, so I said, hey, man, how you been? He said, oh, man, I'm doing terrible. I said, what's going on? He said, man, I got this raggedy hoe pregnant. And it was like a stripper, literally. He said he slept with a stripper. And the stripper had his baby. And the stripper was like taking all his money, his whole paycheck for child support. And I was just listening to him sing the blues. And I wasn't saying I told you so, but I was like listening, like taking notes, like, okay, boys, see, this is what happens when you just sleep with a girl because they're cute. Some of these people will torture you. So just, I think I would just tell you, I think if you're picking a person to have in your life as a friend or as a mate, or even somebody that's going to be a one night stand, I think looking for elements of basic human decency goes a long way. Let me tell you some secrets of getting to know people. First of all, people like to be listened to, right? So don't do all the talking. Like if you meet somebody that you're interested in getting to know, encourage them to talk. Let them talk, and they're going to like you more because they're going to feel heard. When people feel like you're hearing them, they like you more. But then also they will tell on themselves. See, shitty people will eventually tell them themselves, you just got to give them enough time to give you the evidence that they're a shitty person. You just got, if you wait long enough, it's like my daddy. My daddy was a detective for many years. And that's what he said. He said, if you just ask enough questions and wait long enough and interrogate long enough, eventually you're going to get the information you need. And so ultimately, I can't tell you how many times I dodged landmines when I was single before I married my wife, Alicia, who I love so much. And I think she's gorgeous. And I married her because I felt like this is a woman I didn't want to let go. But I met other women who were absolutely gorgeous. And I would meet some real pretty lady who was super smart. And she sounded very pro-black. I'm like, oh, wow, she's pro-black. She's smart. She's gorgeous. And I would just say, okay, boys, but don't jump the gun. Take your time. So I would just kind of observe. I would, kind of check her out on social media. Like, okay, what kind of pictures are you posting? Are you going to post pictures that are going to embarrass me? What kind of stuff are you talking about? Like, how do you? And then I would talk to her on the phone, and I would listen to how she talks about her ex-boyfriends. Right? I wanted to know her family background. Did your mother and father love each other, or was your father a complete piece of shit? How do you feel about your ex-boyfriend? Like, do you think that he's like the asshole of the year? Do you think every boyfriend was an asshole? Because that tells you what lens they're seeing the world through. You see, a lot of people write the end of the story before the story begins, right? So if you talk to a guy, ladies, like if you talk to a guy where every ex-girlfriend he has is a horrible woman and a gold digger, then in his mind, that's going to be the narrative for any woman. Like he's going to end every story with that narrative. You'll never be the good person. So don't fall in that trap of thinking, well, I'm going to be the first one. All the other women used him and did him wrong, and I'm going to be the first one that treats him right. No, he's got an issue that is deeper than anything you can ever fix. Another little piece of advice that I would throw out there just to consider is that relationships are hard. Relationships are harder now than they've ever been. And the reason they're harder now is because gender roles are just confused. The boys want to be the girls want to be the boys. Then they go back and forth and everything's fluid and you don't know what agenda people are on. So therapy is beneficial for couples because therapy gives you tools to manage your differences and manage your disputes. I cannot overemphasize the significance and the support that you get by getting therapy and getting help. And do not enter a relationship with a person who does not want to get therapy. If they say they don't believe in therapy or they want to just do it themselves, that's a recipe for disaster. Relationships, in my view, should not be important. Relationships should not be a DIY type thing or DIY. It should be something where you get the help that you need so you can make sure that you maintain that. The ability to seek out, develop, nurture, and repair healthy relationships is literally, in my view, the number one key to success in any arena. So that's my 2 cents. I know I went on about that topic, but I had to jump in there. Truth hurts. Are you talking about investing now? Not now, but I can if you want me to. Vic, you cut down on drinking. Good for you, man. Good for you. Yeah, that stuff will kill you, bro. Be careful. A lot of people make bad decisions when they're drunk too, so you don't want to get locked up over some shit you can't even remember that you did. Oliver, what do you think about the Hyper Fund? I don't know much about it, Oliver. I'm sorry, I haven't heard much of it. Sun Temple, Black Power Family, how you doing? John C. Taylor, what was the moment you needed to be your own boss? When I was on the faculty at Syracuse University, I was a well taken care of Negro. Like I made $115,000 a year, and I was a young single black man and making six figures. I mean, that's pretty good, right? But the problem was, I don't respond well to slavery. I don't respond well to disrespect. I don't respond well to being told what to do and being in environments that where I'm not comfortable or where people are punishing me just for being myself. And I felt that way at Syracuse University. There was a lot of racism there that was unaddressed. There weren't any other young black faculty members there to really give me any form of guidance. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just went into my office and wrote a bunch of research papers. I was very productive. I was a very good scholar, but I didn't know how to fit in politically. And so I realized, I said, I think there's another step out here for me. I don't want to be a 33-year-old retiree. So I started deciding I wanted to jump headfirst into the whole digital revolution and use the internet as a way to create a bigger classroom for myself to continue to be a teacher, but to teach my own people. I wanted to teach and reach my own people, teach them what I felt they needed to know, and also to be financially free. So I solved those problems, and that's the rest was history. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't like it happened overnight. It was very difficult, and it took a lot of courage, I guess. I had to let go of a lot of easy things to get the things that I wanted that were hard to get. But I'm very glad I did it. It's the best journey ever. Even when I wasn't making any money, I didn't want to go back to work. That's the thing. Once you quit your job, you don't ever want to go back. You literally could be eating Cheetos and beanie weenies and barely getting by, barely keeping the lights on, but you'll still not want to go to work because you'll love freedom that much. So I encourage you to consider giving it a try. April, what should I start investing in now? Well, I would say the easiest way to start investing is with the stock market, just because it's right there on your phone. You can get an app, and I actually have a free training at firstsharestock.com. So if you go to firstsharestock.com, you can actually get started investing right away, and it's very easy. And that training is free. There is an offer to join our mini class for 90% off if you want it, but you don't have to take that. You can actually just take the free stuff. It's totally up to you. And also every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, I meet my students in the Black Stock Market Club, and all we do is we talk about stocks like the entire hour and a half. And there's literally 5 years worth of curriculum there. And we're going to actually have a meeting together at the All Black National Convention. So if you want to join the Black Stock Market Program, the first month is free. The URL's right there on the screen. So feel free to take a look. All right, so let's see here. Tony, first time here, Meriden, Connecticut. Well, welcome, Tony. Glad you're here. Renee, education, career, marriage, then kids. Heck yeah, that's a good plan. My mother used to say that. My parents used to say that. Yeah, have your kids after. Have your kids. See, the reason I think it's great to have your kids like after the age of like maybe 32, 33 is because you get a chance to be young. You get a chance to live your life, and you're not carrying your children. You don't want to be just dragging your kids through the struggle. I feel like in your 20s, you're trying to figure out who you are and how to be happy and all that stuff. And you got a little kid right there behind you the whole time. It's tough. It's tough. And also I think for men, I don't know. I don't know if I could have been married in my 20s. That's hard. I mean, my father, shout out to him. He got married at 22, stayed married to this day. He's been married 47 years. But I don't think I would have wanted to be married in my 20s. And then in my 30s, I almost got married. I was engaged to a beautiful, wonderful woman. We chose not to get married, but she was an awesome lady. I'll never say anything negative about her. And then after that, I just felt like, I don't need to get married. I mean, if I meet the right person, I'll do it. But I didn't feel like it was something I had to do. But I'm glad I did it, because Alicia's the woman that she's a girl of my dreams, literally. Vic, I'm doing a juice cleanse, all fruit and vegetable juice. Good for you, man. You keep doing that, brother. That's going to really make a difference for you. Al Hansard, have you heard of Yusef L over at SPC University? He has a YouTube channel. No, I have not, but let me put him on the screen so everybody can go check him out. SPC University, Yusef L. So, shout out to Yusef L. I don't know him, but it sounds pretty cool. Truth hurts. I have taken a wrong turn with a financial advisor and need to do a one-to-one with someone I can trust, someone Black. Let me think here. I think if you search, maybe do a Google search of Black financial advisors. I have an accountant named Rebecca. Her company's called, what is her company? Pythagoras. Pythagoras LLC, and she's an accountant. She probably knows some financial advisors. So feel free to check out Pythagoras LLC. Let's see here. Oh, another one is if you go to the blackinsurancenetwork.com, theblackinsurancenetwork.com, that's where Yolanda's 5 years, and she probably knows some financial advisors too. And maybe people that have like, those universal life policies and things like that you may want to look into as well. So that's theblackinsurancenetwork.com. Am I driving? No, I'm not. I'm actually sitting on the balcony in Miami. I'm at the Solutionary Summit, and I'm actually at this hotel called the Fountain Blue. And I've never been here before. Maj Toure put me in the hotel for the conference, and I think it's awesome. And I've had a great time. And I think Kwame Brown was speaking around this time, and I don't really know exactly how Kwame and I would engage each other. So I went ahead and told Maj I would step out, that he wouldn't get any issue from me, because as you know, Kwame and I are not exactly on the same page. And but it's just something where I just prefer not to even. If somebody's energy is completely different from yours, it's not even worth dealing with, to be honest with you. All right, so for some reason, there's a lot of spam in here, and so I'm missing some of your questions. So if I missed your question, please put it back in the chat, because there's somebody named Marikar Torinia who put a ton of spam in here, and I just blocked Marikar. So I may not see your question, so you may put it back in, and I can catch the second time around. Vic, I wish you was my real uncle. Man, I am your real uncle. God made me your uncle. Spirit is stronger than blood. So, yes, I am your Uncle Boyce. Truck and T, do we need to just focus on developing and holding on to Black businesses and Black communities like the Asians did in their communities in order for us to see real change? I think you have to own assets, right? So it could be businesses, it could be, real estate, or it could just be ownership stakes in other businesses. You don't have to actually be the person running the business all the time in order to benefit from the business. But the benefit of owning and controlling the business is that you get to decide who the company hires and things like that. So that is, a reason to build businesses and build industry in the Black community and hold on to those businesses. Because you're right, even if the profitability is not super high, the community benefit is high, right? Other people can work there and you can sustain other people. So like with my business, even when we've had times where we weren't profitable, I didn't want to kill the business because there were so many people who were able to feed their kids from the business, right? So building those economic engines is important, and that's literally the most important thing for our young people to learn, in my view. Um, let's see here. Let's see. Michelle Brown. Wow, did he tell you his mother wasn't shit? Wow, what did you say to that? Oh, the guy. Oh, you talking about the guy I know who got the stripper pregnant? Yeah, yeah. I asked him about his mother. It wasn't a good thing. It was kind of one of those things where his mother wasn't there for him. And I believe that if that parent, if that opposite sex parent was never there for you, it does affect your relationships with other people um, all throughout your life, actually. Lonnie Adams, I'm at the age where I'm not going to see my wealth rise. I started 3 years ago. I've even humbled at the move that I've made because young people are truly motivating. That's okay, Lonnie. You're not. You don't have to see the wealth. Look, check this out. I'm staying at this really fancy, beautiful hotel down in Miami Beach, and I looked at the history of the hotel. A lot of famous white people have performed here, like Elvis and Frank Sinatra. It's called the Fountain Blue. And all the people that built this legacy are gone. All the people that got this whole thing started, that saw the vision, are gone, right? But the legacy is here. This building is here. I'm in this building right now because of something somebody did 100 years ago. So the question is, what are you going to do right now that will benefit somebody 100 years from now? It could be something small, it could be something big, or maybe it's something that you think is small that grows into something big. I mean, do you know that the founder of Coca-Cola, when he died, Coca-Cola wasn't shit. He never in a million years would have guessed that Coca-Cola would be worth, a third of $1 trillion. Never. In fact, he sold the rights to the name of Coca-Cola for like $300 or $400 or something ridiculous like that. So the thing about it is that when you talk about building wealth and legacy, you got to have a little bit of a vision. If you look at a seed for a plant, if all you see is a seed, then you're missing 99% of what that seed is going to be. If you look at a seed and all you see is a seed, then keep looking at that seed until you start to see a tree. You got to be able to do that. If you can see the tree and aren't just focused on the seed, then that's one of the secrets to becoming a great visionary. Let me see. Tony Nixon, I say this all the time, just did back and listen. People were telling themselves, that's so true. Yeah, people got to take time. You got to take time and listen. Everybody wants to spend all their time talking, but you spend a lot of time listening. You get a lot of cues. Stephen Price, got my own home, a new Chevy Blazer, so I don't need them. Good for you, man. Good for you. Okay, Miranda Logan, I'm going to block that out because that looks like spam. God, there's so much spam in here. Thanks, Doc, for the free advice this Sunday. Sure, man. So glad I could help you, brother. Lonnie Adams, my wealth adventure is just beginning. I'm humble. You will be successful. I deem it true. Kenza Faze, what makes you select one person over another to be a media representative for the brand? Um, well, I guess it depends on the brand and what you're talking about. I mean, we probably control about 15 different brands that are each worth at least $1 million. Um, we have some that are worth 10 million or more. And even my name, Dr. Boyce Watkins, is a brand. Like that's something I put in my estate plan that's going to be left to other people so they can make money from my name when I'm gone. And so really it depends on the brand. Now, if you're talking about our platform and who we share it with, we're always looking for people that are great content creators. So if you're a person that has a good podcast and you have something good to say to Black people and you want to help the Black community in some cool, productive way, and your stuff is professional and solid, feel free to send an email over. If you write it down, it's producer@flynubianmedia.com. That's producer@flynubianmedia.com. And just ask them to consider your content. We've added some content creators. Like there's a sister that does African Esquire TV. Her stuff is good. And we just offered a sharing agreement. I said, look, we don't have a big budget, but if you want to put your content on Fly Nubian Queen, you can. And she does. She wants to put her stuff up there. And then there's another sister named Theodora Ewing, who's a cryptocurrency expert. She works with us in the Black Crypto Club, which is in the Black Business School. I'll put the URL up if you want to check it out. Check it out. They have regular meetings and they talk about crypto. And she's a great businesswoman and an excellent investing expert. So she does work with people like Lene Javette, and they're bringing people like Madam President and many others. So feel free to email producer@flynubianmedia.com. DDS typed it in the chat. Thank you, DDS. I appreciate that. How do you feel about Weez stock and AR in the future? I'm sorry, True Charisma. I don't even know either one of those stocks. I apologize, man. Kimberly, I'm a white woman married to a black man, and when I ask him for help with certain things that I need help with, like a clogged toilet, he takes offense to it as a white woman, making a black man do derogatory work like it's a racial thing, but it's not. Oh, man. Ooh, that's a tough one, Kim. Oh, Lord Jesus. That's a... I don't know what to say to that. I mean, gosh, yeah, it sounds like he's triggered, maybe a little bit sensitive on the racial tip. So maybe that sounds to me like some stuff a therapist can help with. So maybe the therapist can help you to hear his trauma that's triggering him. A lot of times when people act out and go crazy and get triggered, it's one of those things where maybe they're just feeling like they're not being heard, or you don't understand where they're coming from. So one of the things that I learned from therapists, because I hang out with a lot of therapists now because my wife is one, is that you got to learn how to really listen and try to empathize with the person's point of view. It is really hard to do, because I was like, well, what if what they're saying is stupid? What if it doesn't make any goddamn sense? And he would, and literally my therapist explained to me how to still even make sure that person feels like they're being heard. You can still hold your point of view, but it's hard. It's really hard. But there's a tactic for that, and I think maybe that's something that may help. But I'm not a therapist, so that's just my 2 cents. Beth Collins, I am working on an argument for a paper. Why is home ownership a good thing for people who are low income that are renters? Well, one way to think about it, Beth, is if you're paying rent, $800 a month to your landlord, that's a mortgage on maybe about a $130,000, $140,000 house. So it's weird that a person who can afford to pay rent for 10, 15 years gets declined for a mortgage, where their mortgage will be less than the rent. That doesn't make any sense at all, right? So there are problems with the system, obviously, because the big barrier is the down payment. That's the big barrier. The big barrier is the down payment. But the reason home ownership, in my view, is better than renting is because when you rent a property, you're literally buying the property for your landlord. That's one of the little tricky, sneaky things about capitalism. You're literally in a position where your landlord will be able to buy another house because you paid rent on time. I own a property that was about $110,000. Within about 2 years, it went in value from 110 to 180, and I have not paid one single mortgage payment on that property. But the equity, I think we put maybe 30,000 down. We had 80K in a loan. That loan's been paid down by about $25,000. I haven't made one single payment on that loan because all the money came from the tenant. I mean, what the hell is that? I mean, that's crazy, right? But it's the system. So that's why it's important. Like, you want to have an ownership mentality. Never measure your economic success by how many degrees you have, how fancy your job is, or how much money you make. Measure your economic success by how much you own, how many assets you have. That should be the new measure of economic success. And I think if you're trying to marry someone who's economically successful, or date somebody like that, find out what they own. Ownership means you take out all the debt and you got equity left, right? Ownership is not the same as income. Income means nothing if you don't keep your money. If you spend it all, then you have no income. Like, literally, if you think about it, for a corporation, Julian Gordon makes this point. Julian Gordon, by the way, is coming to the All Black National Convention He's a great real estate expert. And if you really want to hear from a great, excellent black man, come to the All Black National Convention. It's going to be in October in Orlando for 4 days, October 29th through November 1st. And all we're doing is we're solving problems for black people in every area imaginable, from relationships to cryptocurrency to politics to stock market investing to education to real estate acquisition. Like, we're covering all this. So anyway, the URL is allblacknationalconvention.com. But one thing Julian Gordon said that I thought was really cool was he made a great analogy where he said that when a company makes, the company's income is defined as revenue minus expenses, right? So you take the revenue, you subtract out the expenses, whatever's left is your income, right? Got that? Well, if you are a person where you make 50,000 a year and you spend 50,000 a year, well, you have no income. Like, you have no income. Your revenue and your expenses are the same. So if you were a corporation, you would have no income, right? And so, and some people live like that their whole life, paycheck to paycheck, spend every nickel. So your financial freedom and financial strength and security isn't just based on how much money you make. It's based on how much money you keep. If I could be a person who makes 50 and spends 40, I'd rather be a person who makes 50 and spends 40 than a person who makes 100 and spends 100. Okay, so keep that in mind. Tammy Thomas, how do we educate our black children to have a better understanding of knowledge and math? We tend to not have very good math skills. We don't have a math program in the Black Business School. I know that there's plenty of mathematics trainings and curricula online. I personally am a believer that parents should be the number one educators for their children. Parents, you love your kids. Like, you care about their best interests. You care about your community. The school system does not love your kids. The government does not care about your community. So that's not something to just be mad about. It's something that you do something about. So there was a time 50 years ago when black people were doing much better than we are now in certain areas, at least in terms of land ownership and family and all that, and education. The primary influences, according to Nuri Muhammad, who was on our channel not too long ago, he's a great man and a great leader, and I respect him, is the three influences were school, church, and home. School, church, and home. Now the dominant influences for young people are their peers, who don't know shit, uh, social media, which is full of ignorant people doing milk crate challenges, and the music, the lyrics in hip hop music, full of rappers who literally give you a blueprint for self destruction. They literally repeat and market all the ways that a black man can ruin himself by the age of 25. So when you're talking about just this odd assault on the family that has occurred in the black community, there's a problem. When you talk about the assault on our core values, as a community, that's a problem. When you talk about the assault on education in our community, that's a problem. When you talk about the assault on our economic standing, where black wealth is going down, not up, that's a problem. So it's time for us to take control of the bus. So in my view, I don't believe that the school system is the school system. I don't believe that the government is your government. I don't believe that your boss is your boss. I believe that you are the boss, you are the government, you are the school system in your house. So when it comes to what your kids need to know to be successful, you have to take charge of that. So get online, look up some math curricula that exists online. You can order things on Amazon. Incentivize your kids to do it by any means necessary. The most educated kids I've ever seen are homeschool kids. Typically, you just have to make sure that you balance them out socially, because you know how it is. Sometimes the homeschool kids end up a little bit weird, so you don't want your kid to be the weird one. But at the same time, you want them to be just weird enough that they don't fall into these cultural traps that exist with kids that want to be a little mainstream. So, by the way, we actually have a business school for children. If you want to go take a look, it's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. And the URL's right there on the screen. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. Please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Let's see here. Beth says, I will be at the conference. Hopefully COVID levels will drop in Florida. Yeah, the funny thing about Florida is nobody's wearing masks. I'm in this crowded hotel with thousands of people. Ain't nobody wearing masks. They're having that Orange Blossom Bowl. Jackson State and FAMU are playing. I guess it's a long tradition. I think they've been playing for almost 100 years. And And yeah, and there are all these people are here. Ain't nobody really wearing masks. It's real interesting. I was watching college football, and they have thousands of people in the stands. They're not wearing masks, so it's really interesting. It's like a tale of two countries. It's kind of strange. Let's see here. Stelstar, why, when, and how do you stake crypto? I don't stake crypto very often, to be honest with you. Stelstar, that I'm not. I wouldn't even say I'm a crypto expert. I can say though that I've made a lot of money on crypto. Most of my money in crypto has come from Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano. Cardano's been really good. And actually, at drboycecrypto.com, you can see a list of all the crypto that I own. That's drboycecrypto.com. Or you can also, if you want to join our crypto investing group where we have experts that guide the students, you can go to theblackcryptoclub.com. So feel free to go take a look at that. Let's see here. All right, so Wright Collins is spamming the chat. So let me just spam. Let me take that down. All right. AMC stock is being shorted by Citadel, says Jason Kim. Is it? Okay. Interesting. I'm going to go check it out. I haven't seen that. Anthony Woodland, my son is only interested in games. He hates school. Trying to get him to read is like twisting his arm. He claimed he doesn't like learning. It's extremely concerning. He's interested in games. So maybe with your son, it might be a matter of finding the things he's interested in and connecting his learning to the things he's interested in. Like my son really loves video games too. And the thing about video games, now mind you, in China, pay attention now, in China, they just banned, they said children can't play video games more than 3 hours a week. I don't know how they're going to enforce that law, but that's a new law in China. Did y'all hear about that? They also passed a new law where they banned feminine men from being on TV. They said we want to encourage masculinity in our boys. We do not want a bunch of feminine men being paraded around in front of our boys. So Lil Nas X and his shenanigans would not be acceptable in China. So the Chinese have an interesting perspective on that. And the reason I think that banning the video games makes sense to some extent is because video games are addictive. Video games are driven by the same mechanisms that they use to create gambling addictions. Casinos and video game makers use the same tactics. And a lot of kids are addicted to video games. So on one hand, with my son who loves video games, a lot, I did talk to him and say, well, the video game industry is a big industry. There's a lot of money being made. And at some point, you got to figure out how to make money. So, why don't you look into that industry as a way to make your money? And, because there's nothing wrong with going into that industry, right? The other hand, though, I think helping your son understand, look, sometimes you got to do things you don't want to do to be able to do the things you do want to do, right? So as a parent, the fact that he loves video games means you've got leverage on him. You've got leverage where you can actually tell him, if you don't do what I tell you, I'm going to take that video game, and now is that going to work, when he's 20 years old? Not quite. But at the very least, while he's young, I find that with our kids, like we got a 14-year-old that we're working on. And, with her, it's sometimes it can be tough to get her to do what she needs to do. So there's no perfect blueprint on it. I think that connecting, learning, I think watching your son and observing what inspires him can go a long way. So like with my kids, what I do is I watch what they do when no one's telling them what to do. I try to figure out what matters to them. And that allows me to then shape my philosophy into whatever it is that they're already going to be doing, even if I'm not around. Okay. So that's my 2 cents on that. Someone said that I see your question. If I don't see your question, don't ask me if I saw your question. Just put the question back in there again. That means I missed it. Melissa, Dr. Boyce, what would you suggest when your elder parent has no financial literacy? They still work, refuse to spend any time to repair their credit, and have no wealth. How can we change this? I think that's hard, Melissa, honestly. I mean, I got stubborn parents too. Stubborn parents that, they're going to do what they want to do, and I think at the very least, I mean, if you can try to be there for them on whatever level you can, go for it. But every human being has the right to do what they want to do. There's nothing illegal about making bad decisions. So I don't know. I just know that I try, when like my dad is not the healthiest person in the world, but he likes to drink liquor and he likes to eat shit like pork rinds and whatever, and that's not good for him, but that's his choice and I have to respect that. So it's hard. I know it's hard, but you can't change people unless they want to change. That's what I believe. I truly don't believe in trying to change a person who doesn't want to change. It pisses them off and it messes up their relationship. The best you can do is say, look, I'm here if you need me, etc. But at the same time, I think you can draw boundaries to say, even though I can't change your behavior, I am not going to be the one who's going to bear the consequences for your behavior, right? So I say that a lot to young people I mentor. I say, look, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but don't come to me crying when the shit don't work out. You do whatever the hell you want to do. You have all the power, but now you also have all the responsibility where you must bear the burden or the benefits of any choice that you make. I'm not carrying this shit on my shoulder. I'm not Captain Save-A-Ho. Seriously, I think drawing boundaries is very important with people. Do you have a class for the youth? Yeah, I have a couple of things. One is, first of all, I do have a life class, which is actually free. It used to have a price tag on it, but we took it off because I just wanted people to get access to it. And it's not even a financial class. It's just how to be successful in life because I think everybody fucks it up and no one ever, people aren't really taught to be excellent. Like black excellence is something that exists in some of our families, but you go around, you look at Arab families and Indian families and Asian families, and you see some of the stuff they're accomplishing. You kind of wish that we as African Americans, descendants of slaves, could learn some of that. We're excellent at certain things. Like we're really excellent basketball players and we're excellent, football players. We're excellent rappers. We could twerk our ass off, like we can handle the single mother thing like nobody's business. But I don't really see as much excellence in other areas as I'd like to see. Sometimes you do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we're never, ever excellent at anything. That's not true. But if you've ever sat in class, like when I got my PhD, I sat in class next to Chinese and Russian students who would literally memorize the whole fucking book. Like they weren't even trying to decide, well, do I want to study Saturday night or do I want to go to the step show? They weren't doing that. Like they would literally memorize the whole math book. And I was like, how do you do that? Or have two PhDs, stay in school till they're 35 years old, study 10 hours a day, nonstop, 7 days a week, all year round. Like, and that's when I saw that Michael Jordan level of excellence being exhibited, that I hadn't seen before. In college, it was easy for me to blow away all the black students academically because they were mediocre. Like the students I went to school with, I had the highest grade point average of every black student on campus from the first semester I was at University of Kentucky to the last semester. It wasn't hard because there were so many brilliant people who just embraced a mediocre lifestyle. So blackkeystogreatness.com, that's my life class where I'm really kind of like, encouraging you, give a shot at greatness. Like really kind of be willing to let go of the chains that people have put on your brain since you were a child. Let go of that mediocrity, that niggerosity that they're constantly fed, and really go for it, man. I mean, give it all, give it everything you've got. So that is free, and that's also where we do our weekly book club every Wednesday night at 8:30. We're reading Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Black Labor, White Wealth. And you can also, if you go to blackkeystogreatness.com, you'll get an invitation to our weekly book club meetings, which occur Wednesday nights at 8:30. Dr. Anderson joined us for the last two. Last week, that's when we created Powernomics Month. So from this point on, September is now Powernomics Month. So during that time, I'm going to encourage you guys to give your children a Powernomics lesson every week. I'll give you the lesson. I'll tell you what to talk about, things like that, so that you and your family can embrace Powernomics and build a generational legacy that's going to last for 200 years. We don't do generational curses. We are Black excellence. We are Blackness 2.0. So I want you to be that. Brooklyn Stance. All right, I was raised in the Atari era. I didn't do well in school or out of school. No Pac-Man, no Space Invaders. So you go way back, Brooklyn, huh? Yeah, I remember back. It's Brooklyn Stacy. Okay, I'm sorry, Brooklyn Stacy. Yeah, I remember my cousin got an Atari Pac-Man, and I was so jealous. Jason, question. In an age of politically ambitious people, do you feel that those that walk softly, carry a big stick, still succeed? Sometimes. I mean, I think that, just because you have a big stick doesn't mean you have to be an asshole and swing it at everybody that walks by. So I think diplomacy, really being strategic about how you use that stick is important. Like, I think in some spaces I have a big stick, but I don't use it unless I have to. But when I have to use it, I'm not scared to use it. You see what I mean? So, it's like, but some people, because of their ego, they kind of bounce around and do stupid stuff. Edward Berry, do you agree that homosexuality is a mental illness? No comment. FBA, Ado Spain, damn, Dr. Boyce, you educating more parents than Dr. Umar Johnson. Again, no comment. Melissa, Dr. Boyce, what would you suggest when you already asked about the elder parent. Okay, sorry, I already saw that. Xavier says, I don't think education is important to Black people, just the image of being intelligent. Yeah, but we can't give up completely on, there. the thing is, if you're at the stage where I'm at, you know, you know what black families could have been like before the war on drugs and mass incarceration. A lot of the people you see now, you know, in their 20s and 30s that are embracing like toxic culture or embracing bad decisions, a lot of them didn't get any guidance. Like they were literally damn near raised with no parents, so they were, a lot of them were raised by rappers, pretty much. And so, I try to be patient with that and understand that. Like it's very unfortunate because if you watch some of these shows, like you watch Love and Hip Hop, stuff like that, every single one of those kids damn near has a trauma story. Almost every one of them. None of them, or most of them don't usually talk about like, yeah, when I grew up, my mom and my dad used to be home every time I came home from school and blah 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 blah. No, it's like my mama was on crack, my daddy was a pimp, he got shot and went to jail, and I was raised by my grandma and blah 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 blah, right? And so ultimately, um, the music became a reflection of that, and it actually began to glorify that, and it began to define blackness as trauma. Like if you ain't gone through hell in the hood and had 10 of your best friends get murdered before you graduated from high school, then you're not really that you didn't really have the black experience. And I kind of think that we deserve better than that, right? Like I think that um I think that the black experience doesn't always have to be a negative one, and I think we shouldn't give up on that. Now people just act like having two parents in the house is like some sort of pipe dream, like it's not realistic. It's like, no, it is realistic. It's realistic for Asians. It's realistic for Indians. It's realistic for Arabs. It's realistic for Latinos. It's realistic for Jews. It's realistic for everybody. So why can't it be realistic for you? You just have to learn how to build the culture that you want to see. You have to manifest the reality that you believe in. No, don't accept your oppressor's reality. Don't accept the master's reality. Create your own reality. Let me see here. Brian Watkins says, "Why do people hate on you?" I think it's just competition, honestly. Usually, when you have people that really hate on you, it's either A, because you have something they want, or B, they're afraid you're going to take something they have. And so a lot of times people just get competitive. So on YouTube, a lot of people, some of these YouTubers don't have any other income, except for their videos. So if they know that they can put a person's name in their video and get more views, then they're going to do it because they need the money, So a lot of times it's, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be true or not or whatever, because most of these people don't know me. Like, I don't know a single person who talks about me on YouTube who actually knows me. Like, none of them. I can't think of any of them that actually know me, because the people that know me don't talk about me because they know what kind of person I really am, right? They've engaged with me in real life. Whereas other people know the image of me. Like, I guess it may be in their mind. I have no idea. Maybe in their mind, I'm some sort of hugely significant, overtowering figure that they want to compete with. And I wish it wasn't that way, but eventually you get used to it. If you can't stand people talking about you, then you probably shouldn't do this. And also, um, when people are talking about you, that's actually a really good thing. That actually means you're relevant. So let me see here. Xavier Lowe, I don't think. Okay, we already talked about education. Okay. Jason, people's egos, man, people's egos. Oh yeah. T. Jackson, I'm interested in purchasing some apartments in California, but the cost range is 1.5 to 2.4 million with 25% down. Should I buy out of state and settle with a duplex? Yeah, that's a big investment if it's your first one, So maybe if you have a group of investors, that where you can come together. I'm a big advocate for forming groups, investment clubs. That's why, in fact, in the Black Business School, we're leaning more toward clubs. Like we have the Black Crypto Club, and even our stock market program, we're turning that into a stock market club, because I feel like investment clubs where you can engage in activity together as a group is the best way to get things done. So, that's something to look into. Also, you share resources, you share ideas, you share connections. If you make an investment, maybe one person can provide the connect this needs to get it done. Somebody else provides the expertise. Somebody else provides the labor. Somebody else provides the financial capital, and then you can get things done together as a group. So always, that's why relationships are really important, because if you can form healthy relationships with other people, then they're more likely to want to work with you in a group. It's just, it's no different from like making a baby involves, that's a group activity. You can't make a baby by yourself, right? And it's hard to get someone to want to have sex with you and make a baby if you're an asshole, right? If you're a terrible person and you're not very good at sex, nobody's going to want to be around you, right? So if you want to engage in the group activity of having a baby, then what do? You make yourself more appealing. You make yourself a better person. You get to know the people that you're interested in so you can make sure you're investing in the right people. And then, when you get in the bedroom, you throw down, right? You do your job to the best of your ability. So they'll want to keep coming back. And then next thing you know, you get to have a baby. Well, the same thing is true when it comes to building, whether you're talking about building a baby or building a business. If you're talking about building a business, well, how do you build a business? How do you get people to invite you into their investment group where you can build a business together? Well, you got to make yourself appealing. What are you bringing to the table? Are you bringing resources? Are you bringing expertise? Are you bringing labor? Are you bringing a connect? Right? Are you vetting out the people you're going into business with? Well, because if you don't, there are some people who will give you a financial STD, right? They'll bring a lot of nonsense into your life that you don't want, right? So you got to vet those people out. But then when you get together and you start working together, you want to be collegial, you want to be supportive, you want to be helpful, you want to be that person where people are like, man, that guy is so helpful. He showed me so much stuff, or oh, he's always available. He's all in, right? Then next thing you know, you done threw down, you've done your job, they did their job, the magic happens. Next thing you know, you're making money together, right? So making money together is just like making a baby. So if you understand the second process, then you understand the first. That's the best way I can explain it. It's all connected. It's all connected. It's all about relating to other human beings. I promise you. Let's see here. Ace Boogie, have you thought about doing any projects with Tariq Nasheed? We haven't done anything together lately, but I support what he's doing. I support the Hidden History Museum. I think is great. I support every Hidden Colors movie that comes out, and I'm always texting him, asking him how I can help. And he had an event last year during the pandemic, and I was happy to show up at the event. It was right in the middle of the pandemic, and he had a nice group of people there in Atlanta, and I was very honored to be invited to be a part of that. Let's see here. Brooklyn Stacy says, I'm into Hyperfund, which is a stable coin. Sorry to keep asking your thoughts on it, but I just want to know. I don't know much about Hyperfund, Stacy. I got to look into it. I'm gonna dig around. I haven't heard of it though. I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it. Let's see. Brand. Why Black Americans don't want to go and invest some of their wealth in Africa. There are people that want to do that, and I did meet a guy actually who says that that's what his whole company is all about, is buying property in Africa. So I'm gonna see what he's all about. I honestly feel like it's like a little complex in the sense that, when I went to Ghana, I was looking for deals to invest in Ghana, and things move kind of slow. They move a little bit slower there than they do here, and I wasn't really sure what to do next. I was like, okay, so what do we do? Where do we give our money? Like, how do we do this? So that part was a little bit, it threw me off just a little bit. I wasn't sure what the next step was, and that's the part I'm still working on, to be honest. Jerry, Dr. Watkins, I wish we could all come together and stop all these commercials and movies that make us look bad. Yeah, me too, man. It'll happen. Um, Julian Harvey says, I walked up on you in Hyde Park before, Dr. Boyce. You did? Okay, yeah, I lived in Hyde Park for a while. It was a great place. I miss Hyde Park, actually. But I got married and moved away, and I'm glad I did, though. I'm glad I did. It was worth it. She's an awesome woman. By the way, there's my Instagram if you want to follow me on Instagram. Did you apologize to Lizzo? No, she should apologize for letting these white people pay her money to promote obesity. Do you know obesity is the number one risk factor in dying from COVID? Why would you promote the thing that's killing Black people the most? Like, seriously, how are you gonna promote death to Black people and then act like it's a bad thing when Black people are dying when you were promoting death to Black people? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So no, I'm not apologizing. And I wasn't even attacking Lizzo. I was really talking about the industry and how the industry will play you. They play you for a fucking sucker. Like, they'll promote the thing that's going to kill you, and then they'll offer to help you when the thing is killing you. Like they'll sell you donuts in the front of the grocery store and then say, "Oh, you poor baby, you got diabetes from all the donuts we sold you. Here's some diabetes medication. You can buy this too." Think about it. During this whole pandemic, they've been talking all day about this shot. We need Black people, get the shot, right? Because we care about you. We care about Black people. We want you to get your shot. But they haven't said anything about living a healthy lifestyle. I mean, nothing. You're promoting obesity in the middle of a time where you're telling everybody to go get a shot because everybody's obese and getting killed from the virus. Like, are you kidding me? Think about that. That's crazy. A Harvard University study just came out that said that one of the leading factors that determines whether or not that virus takes you down or lets you live is whether or not you are in physical shape. Are you exercising, Black people?
if you don't let yourself get fat and greasy and overweight and sloppy and slow and you ain't moving, you a sitting duck. Ain't no shot gonna save you. So come on, man, get out of here with that nonsense. It don't even make no make it make sense. Make it make sense. All right, so let me see here. Were you promoting obesity when you were obese? No, because I never talked. Femi, I never talked about my obesity like it was a good thing. My woman encouraged me. She said, "I love you to death, but you're getting fatter, and you need to fix that. And let's get out here and let's exercise together." And we fixed it together. So there you go. Darius, what's your opinion on the Breakfast Club constantly defending Lil Nas X and his antics? They said they don't call it trolling; it's just marketing. I haven't. I honestly, Darius, I don't even watch the Breakfast Club. I've been on there. I know, like I guess maybe about 3 or 4 times or something, and I'm glad they had me on there. They were always very nice to me, and I will publicly state Charlamagne the God was instrumental in getting Farrakhan on there. I connected those two. Tariq Nasheed, I connected him to Tariq Nasheed. Dr. Claude Anderson, I connected them with Dr. Claude Anderson, and I was honored. I was so happy that those individuals got the exposure they deserve. I remember being a part of all that process because after I was on there a bunch of times, I kind of felt like other people needed that platform instead of just hearing from 1 or 2 people. But so that's the part of the Breakfast Club I rock with. That's the part I understand. The stuff with Lil Nas X, I do not understand. That is not my lane. I think that the poor guy is just a desperate kid who doesn't understand the implications of his actions, but he's been traumatized. He's one of what I call the lost boys of Atlanta. There's a lot of young boys in Atlanta that are living in a dangerous lifestyle because they were abandoned by their families. Like I think that we mistreat gay kids horribly. Like we treat them terribly. Like if your child comes to you and says that they're gay, like you don't hit them in the head with a Bible, like tell them that you're going to hell. Like you don't do that, and that's what they do. They tell them they're going to hell, kick them out of the house. And next thing your 15-year-old son is dating some 35-year-old man who's infecting him with all kinds of viruses, so it's kind of, it's sad. I feel bad for him, but I think at the same time, um, what happens is that white supremacy and these corporations, they will take the absolute worst of the bunch, the most humiliating images of the black man, and they put money behind it. And that money creates false legitimacy. Sometimes you think that because somebody's putting money behind something that makes it real, that makes it meaningful, that makes it relevant. That means if you're not down with it, then something's wrong with you. You ain't hip. You ain't with the times. And I know how this history works. That's what Hollywood has always done. And so with Lil Nas X, he's being funded by people who are not black, who are trying to push an agenda to the black community. And there has always been a history of seeking to emasculate the black man. And so what they're doing to the black community is exactly the same as what they did in Afghanistan. They propped up a fake government, and the people hated the government. They didn't see them as real leaders, and they had no real power. And that's why as soon as the United States stopped backing that government folded, and Kabul fell into chaos. Afghanistan fell apart when the United States stopped propping up the fake government. Well, in the U.S., what they do is they don't prop up necessarily a fake government, but they prop up fake leaders. They prop up the civil rights superstars. They prop up the stupid celebrities in Hollywood who are pushing all kinds of agendas on you, right? And without the support of white people, those people would disappear. They would have no power. Like what's Cardi B going to be if she doesn't get the support of white corporations? Megan Thee Stallion disappears. Lil Nas X gone. Lizzo gone. Those people don't get support from black people. They get support from other people, and they get support from other people that ends up influencing black people. So it's no different from the fake governments the United States puts props up all around the world. They did it. They did it in Afghanistan. They did it in Vietnam. That's what led to the fall of Saigon. They did it in Iran. That's why they had the revolution in Iran in the 1970s with the Shah of Iran, and where they were literally going around cutting the heads off of anybody that was supporting the Americans. They did it, white countries, European countries did it in Rwanda with the Hutus and the Tutsis that led to that massacre. They do that shit all over the world, and they're doing it to you. Let me keep going. Let me see here. Julian Harvey, Dr. Boyce, how do you feel about the Caribbean influence in toxic hip hop culture? They created Love and Hip Hop, The Shade Room, and World Star, which perpetuates negative stereotypes of blacks. The Caribbean, well, the Caribbean didn't do it. I mean, but I don't know who created Shade Room and all that. I didn't know it had a Caribbean influence. I don't personally have any issue with the Caribbean. But then again, I can't say I'm a person who is fully super well versed in everything that comes out of the Caribbean. So let me just say that the most I've talked about the Caribbean has been with Shakari Richardson, and her little experience with the Jamaicans and the Jamaican women. From what I saw, I mean, they handled that whole situation with maturity and grace. And Shakari kind of handled it, like an angry 21-year-old, who didn't quite know how to um, handle defeat, in a way that wasn't going to cost her all her endorsements. So, but beyond that, I can't speak to their participation in the shade room and all that. I'm gonna have to look into that. Let's see here. Can we talk about crypto wallets? I can't say I'm an expert on crypto wallets because I keep my crypto on the exchanges. Coinbase, Robinhood, what's the Bittrex, stuff like that. So, but we do have a crypto group. It's called the Black Crypto Club. So, if you're interested in talking crypto all day long, we have crypto experts at theblackcryptoclub.com. The first month is free, I think. So feel free to go take a look. Let's see here. Brielle Knox. Hey, Brielle, how are you? If all those people you named disappeared, that would be good, but Hollywood would have their replacements ready, so there's really no point. That is so true. That is so true. They have an endless supply of ridiculous Negroes to fill in the void. The void will never last very long. Fritz Grits. That's not true. The culture props up and dislikes at the same time. Megan, Cardi, and Lil Nas X. Okay, okay. Your point has been heard. Um, Let's see. Brielle says, I still support Shakari Richardson. I support their athletes like the Caribbean supports theirs. All right. Yeah, I agree. And I think that the thing is with Shakari, to me, first of all, she's young, right? She's 21, and you can't forget that, right? So she's going to learn lessons from this whole experience. But second of all, it's kind of like, I think the thing that kind of drove me crazy about the Shakari thing is everybody tried to make it into like a racial thing, like, oh, you're not supporting the black woman, and I'm like, but wait a minute, she's in a race with 8 other black women. What are you talking about? There's a lot of black women in this race. Like, and I feel like that whole like bravado was hogging the spotlight away from the other women. And so I wish it could have been something gracious where she could use that attention she was bringing to the sport to help highlight, the greatness of all the other women that are out there that are really grinding and doing a great job. And because remember in America, in the U.S., not only just talking about the Caribbean, you ain't even got to go international. You have a lot of great international sprinters like Mboma, who just beat her. She's 18 years old. She's from Africa. She's super fast. The Jamaican women, man, awesome. But in the United States, I can name a long list of black female sprinters and runners that I wish everybody knew about because these women are super talented, super classy, and they deserve all the attention in the world. They are just as much, if not more, of a reflection. They are the reflection of the black women I know. Shakari, when she's out thugging it out and acting gangster and shit, that looks like that's hood radish to me. I don't. I'm not the black women that I roll with, the women I have chosen to be around, that I work with, that I have in my family. They're women of intelligence, of class, they're decent human beings. And I didn't get that from Shakari. I believed that she could be that, but she wasn't showing that, right? But the women that I admire in track and field are women like Athing Mo. Look up Athing Mo. She's beautiful. She's tall. She's 19 years old and broke the American record in the 800 meters. And she could probably actually win the Olympic gold medal in 2 events. You've got that rivalry between Sydney McLaughlin and Delilah Muhammad, two kick-ass black women who had come from great families. You've got Gabby Thomas, who was the 200-meter champion, who went to Harvard. You've got a lot. Of course, you got Allison Felix, right? So you got a lot of quality, classy women. Like, why y'all grabbing onto the loudest one instead of you know point to the one that's the most talented and the most gracious? Why is it that good people always get put to the back and we put the assholes out front? I don't. Assholish behavior is not appealing to me. Like when Shakari got off the track, it was talking about, I'm the sixth fastest. You could talk all that shit if you want to, but I'm the sixth fastest woman in this game ever. Well, if you're really that fast and you're really that great, you shouldn't have to tell me how great you are. Other people are the ones who can talk about how great you are. I don't. If you got to tell me how great you are, then you ain't that great. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, Lewis Barron, Dr. Boyce. I know you speak a lot on the family and the threat to the black family today. Wouldn't you say it started since slavery? Yeah, but it's accelerated. I think it's gotten worse. I think that 40 years ago our families were in better position than they are now, and I think it's going to continue to get worse. And that's just true. Melissa says, "Humble thyself." Yeah, I kind of think, I don't know. I don't think it's old fashioned to say that humility is a more admirable trait for others, because just because you're humble, that doesn't mean you can't be great. And being humble also does not mean that you can't be extremely, extremely confident. You can be humble. Humility helps you see the God and the goddess in you better than arrogance. Arrogance is not confidence. Arrogance is a cover for confidence. Arrogance is artificial confidence. Arrogance is when you're pumping yourself up to be confident by telling everybody that you're better than them, right? Because you see everyone else as a threat. Humility is when you can walk softly and carry a big stick, and you don't need to prove to anybody that you have a big stick unless they test you. Then they test you, and then you win, you pass the test. So it's just like masculinity. Like the men who bark about how masculine they are and constantly thump their chest are typically emotionally immature individuals who are not completely comfortable in their masculinity. If you're a real man, you shouldn't have to constantly tell people that you're a real man. You just act like a real man. Just do what a man does. And I think that's something that you just learn over time. I'm not the same age as Shakari, so she'll figure these things out. Anyway, let's see. How do I send you documents and info on Hyperfund? Sure. You can email producer at flynubianmedia.com. That's my manager's producer at flynubianmedia.com. I'll feel free to, I'll be glad to take a look. Let's see, Joseph, what do you think about the Black History Museum that Tariq Nasheed is building? I think it's great. I fully support it. I got to hit up Tariq because I want to make a donation. I did not make a donation to the campaign, but I certainly don't mind investing and donating. I invested in the Tulsa Fund. I invested in Sonetta TV. I gave money to King Randall and his school. There's a lot of stuff that I want to support, it's like, why not? That's what you're supposed to do. Um, you know, so anyway, all right, guys, I'm gonna bounce on out of here. It was fun talking to you, and like I said, if you want to join our crypto investing club, it's theblackcryptoclub.com. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Also, don't forget the All Black National Convention is coming up very, very soon at the end of October, October 29th through November 1st. We're gonna basically spend 3 days having a lot of fun and solving problems for Black people. It's built for the whole family, so bring your whole family, bring your kids, bring your spouse, bring your baby daddy, bring your church group, bring your investing club. Come on down. It's like a big Black family reunion. It is at the luxurious Omni Resort that has 9 restaurants and Disneyland's nearby and basketball courts, and the rooms are beautiful. And you can feel free to hang out with us. And we're gonna really be doing a lot of really cool stuff. And we got a long list of people that are coming. I mean, the list is incredibly long. I can't even name all the people that'll be there, but so it's going to be awesome. So I hope to see you there, and the URL's on the screen if you want to get your early bird tickets now. And if you haven't reserved your hotel and you want to get your hotel room at a discount, we do have some discounted hotel rooms at abnchotel.com. So I don't know how long those are going to last, but you can hit that URL up and reserve your hotel room, and it's going to be in Orlando, October 29th through November 1st. So I'll keep you guys posted as it comes along. And John asked, "What do you think about Black Lives Matter?" I don't. I mean, that was a white liberal movement that just used Black people as pawns. I didn't even take it seriously, to be honest with you. So God bless you guys. Take care. Love you. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out if you can, and I'll talk to you later. Take care. Peace.